From the creators of Relevant Magazine, this is the Relevant Podcast.
It's Tuesday, November 5th, 2019. You're listening to Relevant Podcast. I'm your host over in Paris, France, Tyler Huckabee. I've got a cold today, but I couldn't turn down a chance to talk to some of my favorite people in the whole entire world. For example, back over there stateside in Orlando, Florida, our producer over on the ones and twos, the illustrious Chandler Strang.
Hello.
Also keeping an eye on Chandler, his bodyguard, his teacher, his sensei over there in Orlando, Florida, John David Harris. How you doing, JD?
Greetings. I'm doing well.
And out in Loveland, Virginia, we're always glad to have Jesse Carey back on the podcast. How's it going, Jesse?
Hello. Not too bad.
And out there on the West Coast, joining us once again, it's Propaganda. Hey, Prop.
Wes, what up?
We've got a great show coming at you today. Scott Avett is going to be joining us to talk about the Avett Brothers' brand new album, Closer Than Together. But we also, before we get to that, I think, Prop, did you give us, is this an exclusive scoop that you or were we just not paying attention? This was out there.
What's going to hurt your feelings the least?
Well, you already said some hurtful things to me that we'll address in a minute.
Okay,
but...
cool. Yeah. Well, this is not an exclusive. Yeah. We put it out on the interwebs. Me and Derek Meyer did kind of like a Dre and Snoop kind of situation where he did all the production. I did all the rapping. So we got a record, November 15th, next Friday.
Nothing but a word.
By comparing it to Dre and Snoop, you've set the bar, I think, at a very reasonable level.
Okay, well, yeah, it's nothing but a classic. Yes.
Now, I've listened to the especially like the first single really captures the West Coast vibe, and the first single is called Dope. And the day it came out, I was listening to it, and I was like, I got to share this with our readers. And I posted it on the website. And then I proceeded to tweet it to all of our 250,000 Twitter followers out there. And I said,
the Relevant Army.
And I said, check out the new song from Prop and Derek Meyer. It lives up to its name. This song is called Dope. And before we start recording, Prop noted, I saw that it was really cutesy and on the nose. I figured that was a Jesse tweet, not a Tyler tweet. He's like, if it was subversive and smart, it was probably Tyler. But
this is quite the editorializing of my words. But
set the record straight here.
This is the gist.
Set the record straight.
He said, hey, did you catch that? Did you catch my little play on words there? This is dope. And I was like, yeah, I caught that, man. Thank you. I was like, I knew that was a Jesse tweet. And then for which Tyler says, hey, a lot of times people think something funny and cute that they always give it to Tyler, but to Jesse, a lot of times it's me though. This is Tyler speaking. I said, I can tell the difference between the two. And then I proceeded to explain a very non-dualistic, non-binary worldview that would say that if something's a little more like kind of funny and on the nose, kind of cute and on the nose, that's Jesse. If it's something's a little more subversive and clever, it's probably Tyler.
I got it. I don't feel shamed. I don't feel like myself. I'm glad
There's
you feel that way.
nothing wrong with being on the nose. We need both types. You and me, we're the yin and the yang, man. This is important.
Listen, some people have to be the CBS How I Met Your Mother time. Other people get to be HBO Prestige. Guess who gets more viewers at the end of the day? Okay,
exactly.
CBS shows only the most popular shows on TV.
Hey, man, you guys love and always add to your podcast these just like super like amazing, clever, talented like artists for your bumper music that nobody's heard of, right? So, and we can't be mad at that. It's like there's a world for that, that there, and then there's Taylor Swift, where it's just like at the end of the day, she's on the nose, but that's a lot of noses she's on. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? A lot more noses than I am.
This is a great analogy.
Exactly. I mean, you're basically calling me the Mike and Molly of joke writers. But you know what? Mike and Molly seem to be doing just fine.
Exactly.
Another show about a delivery person.
Yeah, we can't all be Royal Tenenbaums. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
I'm sorry, I'm not Secession and that I'm NCIS Navy edition, but that show still kills. Okay,
You're right.
No pun intended. All those CIS shows, whatever, people are still digging them because they're on the nose. You got to murder a gruesome one, and guess what? They're going to solve it by the end of the episode. I don't need to be 5 seasons into Game of Thrones to figure out what the heck's going on. Okay,
I'm here to help. I'm here. I help.
You are defending a position that no one's attacking. We are all saying
It's hot. It's a little hot right now.
It's hot. Prop, I do have something else to ask you about that I saw on Twitter.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you got to listen to our most recent episode, but Chandler's been going through a lot emotionally. He's got a lot. We were going to set up a GoFundMe for him. He's hit a little rough patch in his life. His car got towed. And it's really derailed him. He wanted to just kind of stop coming into work and start up a new life without a car. But you recently, I saw on Twitter that you recently did some car maintenance, and it seemed to give you some trouble. Tell us exactly what happened.
Oh, no. So here's the thing. First of all, there's baggage over understandings of masculinity and just like you're supposed to work on cars and be a gearhead. I was never interested in cars. I just didn't find this, and then whenever I tried to do it, I was like, it's dirty. This is confusing. There's too much can go wrong. This is not relaxing. Like, I don't find this fun. So I also don't find spending money fun. So I thought to myself, all I need to do is change my headlight. I've changed my tail light before. You just pop the thing out, put it in, it's $10. I was like, I can do that. I'm not going to get somebody else to do this. Right. Yeah. So I popped the hood and I'm already like, all right, let's figure this out. So it's just got 2 little latches. You could see the latches. I was like, all right, fair enough. But first, obviously, I unscrewed all these other things thinking I was supposed to do that first. Then I was like, oh, it's just these little latches. So I lift the latches. I read my owner's manual. I lift the latches and the headlight's just supposed to pop out. But you lift the latches and it's not popping out. And I'm like, this is so ridiculous. These are the directions. Why is it not working? I am doing exactly. And it's just like, it just got to me so deeply because I was like, oh, look at YouTube. Oh, real men change their oil. I ain't never changed my oil ever in my life. It's a guy down the street that'll do it for $20. What's the difference? So that's what he liked doing it. So I'm going to let him do it. Right. So I'm pulling the thing. Exactly. I'm pulling the thing and I'm just so frustrated because I'm like, you telling me this is easy. This is so complicated. It should not be this hard. And I'm just frustrated in general that it shouldn't be this hard. So I had to walk away from it. I come back and I'm just like, this is so stupid. So, and then I just pull once and it pops out. And I'm like, I hate this. I was here for 20 minutes trying to do this. This is so, it's like the car's teasing you. It's teasing you.
It is. It's that's why I don't do any maintenance thing to any vehicular around the house. Like, no. I don't even want to, even if it's like changing a wheel off of lawnmower, it's like, this is the height of arrogance. The thing, yes. I can do a lawnmower repair person's job better than they can. I have no experience in this.
Yes,
exactly. They do this. They replace these wheels all day, you know?
Yeah, JD, I feel like you might be. Were you raised in a household where you learned how to handle a car?
A little bit, yeah. And it was more of one of those scenarios where I got my dad's old hand-me-down, and I just had to learn every time a new thing broke. It was you'd be driving, and then all of a sudden everything's overheating, and you're like, why is it overheating? And then you take it to the place and like, your fan belt's broken. You're like, oh, my fan belt's broke. Or like you're driving around, all of a sudden you take a turn and you hear click, 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 and you're like, oh, well, that's obviously your CV joint. I'm like, what the heck is that? And so you learn like all these weird little things to where now, after having like 20 years of experiencing breaking cars, when someone's like, my car is doing this, I'm like, oh yeah, I've had that one before.
Oh, really? So you're the guy. You're that guy who, like, if I go up and have like, oh man, the car, I was making a noise. You could be like, oh, I'll tell you what that is right there. You got a problem with your.
The only reason I want to learn those skills isn't really to save money or time. look, I mean, yeah, that's obviously the benefit. I don't want to be shamed by these.
That's the thing.
By these judgy mechanics.
Like,
no,
that's the worst.
Not only that, or shamed by your Twitter followers that are like, you could just look on YouTube. Hey, you think I ain't thought about that? You think I ain't thought about that? You think I don't know this car come with a book? You think I didn't know that? You think I ain't smart enough to look at the book?
Those books are horrible too, because that's the joke, like, right? Because there's always been that old saying, like, the Bible, it's like the car manual for your life. And you're like, yeah, have you ever freaking read a car manual?
Yeah.
They're terrible. They don't
that?
tell you anything what to do. They're all disorganized. You try to look headlight and you're like, I don't even know, because they have it's like not even numbered correctly. They're all in like weird categories.
And so I go to headlight and it's all, this is how you switch it on. I'm like, hey, here's the thing. I know how to turn the headlight on.
I picked that part up.
I picked that part up.
The problem is it's not turning on. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the issue. And so it's the shaming of other dudes.
Yeah.
Number one, that are just like, oh man, you're not a real man. So in college, I dated a young lady whose all of her brothers they were all gearheads. Like her dad worked on big rigs during the day and then came home and went straight to the garage to work on his like trailer. You know what I'm saying? Like they were just gear dudes. And I just remember being like, yo, I'm gonna go watch basketball. And I would just go inside while y'all bonding. My in-laws right now, like my father-in-law works on heavy machinery, right? And so my brother-in-law, my wife's sister's husband, like he's got this like off-road thing and they bond and they're outside working on the thing, drink Coronas, enjoying themselves. And since they don't really, my father-in-law's English ain't that good either.
Wait a second. Gearheads who sit around and drink Coronas. Was this the family from Fast and Furious? Were you dating Michelle Rodriguez?
It could be. It could be. I mean, she's in Los Angeles, but so they're just bonding. And since my father-in-law don't speak a lot of English anyway, like he would be like, I'm trying to bond with my wife's family, and he's like, hey, can you pass me this? And he don't know how to say the tool in English. And even if he said it in English, I wouldn't know what he was talking about anyway.
50-50, I would know.
So it's 50-50. So then finally they're just like, hey, can you just go get us more beers? Right. So I'm like, you know what? This is emasculating. I don't need to keep doing this. I'm just going to go inside right now and watch the kids.
Yeah. That's like, when anyone asks me something like, do you even know how to change a tire? My answer is always the same. In theory, yes. Okay. So just lay off. Conceptually, I know you got to lift it. I know it's got to come off. I know it's got to come on. But, I didn't go to tire school. Okay.
Yeah.
My degree is not in tires. Okay. Like there are other people who are good at this. I'm going to keep the workforce stimulated out here. Like I said, I'm not prideful enough to think I can do the job better than someone who's basically works in a.
I'm going to say something that I'm going to say that it's a little controversial. This is going to be a little off brand for me, even because this is going to sound like, well, it just helped me understand this here. I do feel like of all the car things, and I'm a car idiot, like all of us here. Well, except for JD, I'm a car idiot, like a few of us here. But I can change a tire. If the tire goes out, I can change a tire. Jesse, do you not know?
In theory, I can change a tire. Okay.
Have you ever changed the tire buyers?
Let's just move on. I said in theory,
I can change a tire. That I can do. I can change a tire, and apparently I could change a headlight. So
yeah. It took you two tries, but you got there.
Yes.
Right. So, I feel like it's one of those scenarios. Like, look, let's make a deal. How about like you don't make fun of me for not knowing how to like change out the solenoid or something, and I won't make fun of you for not knowing how to reset your password on Hotmail.
That's a good plan. That's a good. Yeah, that feels. Yeah, the boomers can keep fixing the cars for us, and we'll keep figuring out what's wrong with their Wi-Fi router, and there'll be a lot of harm.
Yeah,
it'll be all right.
We'll show you how to make the text on your iPhone somehow even bigger. Deal? Flat tire dad.
We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, slices. You're listening to Now I'm In It by Haim. At the beginning of the podcast, you heard It Might Be Time by Tame Impala. It might be time to learn how to change a tire on your car.
Like I said, in theory, this is not a problem, Tyler.
Now it's time for our look back at the news of the week. It's time for Slices. Okay, what do you got, John David?
Okay, have any of you ever misplaced something that you were really surprised that you misplaced?
Like you mean something really valuable that you seems like I would keep a good eye on it?
Right. Every single day of my life. Like, I know I had my car keys or my wallet.
I'm like, and there's a designated place for it. And then when I go to the place and it's not there, I'm just so mad at myself.
Right. That's the one, right? That's the one that gets you is like when you have your routine. I'm a very routine individual when it comes to those things, like my wallet, my keys, even my glass. They have their spots. Now they might be scattered around the house, but they're there. And so when they're not there, it's very strange. The Forest Service Rangers in Prescott National Forest in Arizona had a similar problem when a month ago, a 1-ton boulder nicknamed the Wizard Rock disappeared.
Word.
Vanished. It's vanished. It's near one of the highways, so it's easy for people to see it as they're driving by. And all of a sudden they got phone calls and, hey, what'd you do with Wizard Rock? What happened to the Wizard Rock? And then went out there to investigate, and it was nowhere to be found. There was no markings of any kind of any heavy machinery or anything, and it seemed very gently just vanished. Well, that alone is weird enough, but it is also weird that just last Friday, the rock reappeared. So the rock is back. The Wizard Rock is now returned, and the National Forest Service has issued a response basically saying, we are appreciative that whoever returned the rock, even though we're not sure how they took it or even returned it in the first place, we're glad that they did. And just a reminder that removing minerals from a national park is illegal, so please stop stealing our boulders.
This is some strange happenings. We should have sat on this one.
Do you guys feel like if you name like a giant boulder Wizard Rock, at some point it's going to do some cool wizard trick?
You're asking for it.
You literally asked for it to do something awesome.
Yeah, you kind of asked for that.
Yeah.
If you call it a Wizard Rock.
Yeah, if it was like Jeff's Rock or something, it would probably have just sat there the whole time. But like,
maybe it had a baseball cap on or something.
Right? Yeah. You never know.
Gamer Rock.
Yeah. Like if it was Street Magic Cliff or something, I would expect weird stuff to happen. Just be amazed. Yeah. So I think they kind of got what they asked for.
Exactly. I agree. Yeah, and I did a little bit of research, but not a ton. But I'm not sure exactly where the name comes from. It's a giant dark rock with streaks of quartz that go through it, so it's actually a really pretty boulder.
So it's kind of like shiny, like this is a real. This feels like something that would end up in somebody's like online fanfic about like wizards and unicorns and stuff like that. And Wizard
this is
Rock,
like the beginning of like that Outlander show or something.
If you bathe under it by moonlight, then you live 3 more years or something.
Yeah. There's got to be some kind of weird.
It's like a curse. Secret. 3 more years. That's not very long. You bathe under Wizard Rock, you'll be dead by 35.
It's not a complicated spell. How much do you want? You're just bathing under it. I don't want to Jesus juke us, but this does feel like somebody got carried away with the go throw yourself into the sea verse of the Bible, and it worked. Like they weren't expecting it to. They like tried the Jesus that like go throw yourself into the sea, and it did. And then they're like, okay, God, now we need to return it because people are getting weirded out by this.
You have faith.
It was not supposed to work.
You could tell to this mountain, be thou removed. Oh crap.
Yeah, he did it.
He did it. Come back.
It actually works.
Right, yeah.
Listen, I'm going to mustard seed this thing back. Do me a solid here, God, because the Park Service is after me now.
I'm wanted.
Thank you very much, Christ.
That is illegal. Could you have picked a better analogy that was maybe permissible?
I also thought it was funny that like when it went missing, I mean, there's nothing they could really do about it, so they just kind of treated it like a shoulder shrug. Like whenever,
what are you going to do? A 1-ton rock vanishes.
Well, it's just
a boulder shrug.
Yeah, like they just didn't. I mean, there was no search for it or anything. It was just a
boulder
little
shrug.
Yeah,
cutesy on the nose. I can do it all. I can do it all. Cutesy and on the nose.
Tyler. You're approaching in somebody else's brand here, man.
I wear a lot of hats. I can do it all. Live in every lane.
Yeah, what can you do though? You're right. What can you do? You just get up and you're going, hey, there's a mountain missing.
Right.
I don't. I mean, what do we file a report? Like, I don't. What do we?
Who we calling here?
The return.
We did not cover this in
truck. Like, what are we looking for?
Right, yeah. This isn't in the manual.
This.
Yeah, it's not in the manual.
Yeah.
This isn't like changing a headlight here.
Right.
There's no clear blueprint. You know.
You can only really look around.
There's no like YouTube to watch. No YouTube video on like what to do when your boulder goes missing. But it is strange to me that they returned it, whoever they is. That's the oddest part. Like if you're going to steal a cool looking boulder, and there was like a little bit of an outcry, but not like a huge one. So it's not like there was this big, like, my gosh, we gotta return this now or they'll find us. So yeah, it's just a strange thing.
I always thought boulders were kind of a finders keepers situation, but I'm glad they did the right thing. I'm glad the wizard who took it did the right thing.
Yeah.
I have a theory. This was a harvest party situation. They needed a boulder for like an empty tomb thing. They was like, I know where a boulder is. What is it? Go get it. Harvest party's over. Yeah. And then they just load it back in the church van, take it back up there, drop it off.
Look, I worked in a few churches' creative departments, and there's definitely enough time on your hands to figure out how to smuggle out a boulder from a national park and return it.
I don't think the youth pastor is spending all 40 hours working on the sermon prep.
Yeah, no,
He's got a little extra.
That sounds like a team building exercise to me. Getting ready for the mission team to head down to Guatemala. Let's get a little team building. The little wizard boulder.
And the stone was rolled away.
All the way back to where it started. Yeah. All right, Jesse, what do you have?
All right, I got a two for this one. The first one will be reasonably quick. I want to dig into the second one. Seth Meyers has a new Netflix special coming out this month. And Seth Meyers, as anyone who watches this late night show will know, it's pretty political. I mean, it's him and Colbert arguably have the most. Yeah, they arguably have the most political late night shows. But what's interesting about his new Netflix stand-up special is it's going to contain a skip politics button. So on the screen while you're watching the special, you can hit this button and it'll skip all his political material. And Seth Meyers said it was his own idea. Here's what he told CNN. It said, it dawned on me that because it was on Netflix, there would be this opportunity to put in technology that would allow people to skip it. It was a way to build in a response to anyone who would say, oh, let me guess, there's going to be jokes about the president. I plan on watching Seth Meyers' comedy special. I plan on not skipping any material just because it doesn't bother me. But I wanted to get your guys' thoughts. And also, what do you guys think about implementing a skip Kanye button on this podcast? Because he's come up almost every episode. And I feel like people are just over it. They got the takes at this point. Rob, what do you think about Seth Meyers' skip politics button?
I think it's a sad more commentary on culture that like stuff that just really affects people's lives, like legitimately, like they're not concepts. It's not politics. It's like, no, it's life and death. You know what I'm saying? That it's gotten to a place to where it's like, not only can we not joke about it, you're just like, I don't want to hear it. So I think the activist in me is like, oh, it must be nice. You can just skip it. You know what I'm saying? But then the comedian in me is like, dang, man, like, then, I mean, are the jokes going to make sense? Like, are you going to be able to, like, I mean, are they threaded together? You know what I'm saying? But I guess if you want to be able to do that, I heard Netflix also did a 1.5 speed thing too, where you could watch a show faster. And as a content creator, I'm like, oh.
I know.
Yeah.
I take it the new album isn't going to come with an option for me to skip whatever content I want to, or to play it just like faster to get through it.
Yeah.
Quicker than I want. I think I agree. And I think I'm of two minds about this. So the first one is there might be, the only reason I would see value in it is that honestly, comedy about Donald Trump, I don't feel like it's been very good. We have yet to have like SNL's Trump stuff is really boring, and it's really I would call it cutesy and on the nose, and it has not, for all the possible like ways you could have like some insightful subversive content about this administration. I don't think a lot of these institutions have done a very good job with the material offered to them. So I don't know that I haven't heard the Meyers special yet. I don't know. Maybe he's got some really great insights. I don't know that I need it in my life. But the other one is, I think it's really interesting how much how often you hear from some folks that comedy is dying because people are too offended nowadays, and there's no all these whiny babies, all these SJWs who want to get away from they don't want to have their fees hurt. And now it's the other side that's the first one to offer up this skip the stuff you may not want to hear, skip the offensive Trump jokes over it. And that feels like a reversal of what the narrative, the dominant narrative is in society right now.
But Prop, I think you bring up a good point that I didn't really think about. It is sort of a privileged position to say, well, I'll just ignore the politics stuff because I don't want to. That's easy for someone in a position of privilege to say that aren't directly affected by the actual politics happening in Washington. Yeah. It's gotten to the point where there's such a double standard with some stuff that, some people would be like, I don't even want to hear jokes about it, but they're not the ones whose families are being separated.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
All right. I have one more. I wanted to play a clip for Chandler. If you can get that ready. Josh Harris. You guys remember Josh Harris, the author of I Kiss
How could I forget?
Oh, that guy.
How could I forget? He torpedoed my first ever dating relationship.
Yeah, well, he damaged a lot of damaged relationships. How many people were broken up to by their youth group crush just handing them a copy of I Kiss Dating Goodbye? No other words need to be exchanged. All right, represent this. We're doing a courtship thing, and that's not going to be for 5 years from now. He also was a pastor. He famously took to Instagram. I guess it was earlier this year. And here's what he said. He said, by all the measurements that I have for defining a Christian, I am not a Christian. Many people tell me that there is a different way to practice faith, and I want to remain open to this, but I am not there now. He also added, to the LGBTQ plus community, I want to say that I am sorry for the views that I taught in my books and as a pastor regarding sexuality. So this week he was on the talk show Axios on HBO, and he opened up about his decision as it pertains to leaving the faith, not just renouncing his book, which he did a long time ago. He renounced I Kiss Dating Goodbye. But he actually said, part of the decision was because he and his wife had decided to end their marriage. And actually, Chandler, I don't want to put words in his mouth. Why don't you play the clip, and then I want to hear your guys' reaction to this.
I was really just trying to be honest about the fact that all the ways that I had defined faith and Christianity, that I was no longer choosing to live according to those. Most significantly, the decision that my wife and I made to end our marriage.
Some people were angry.
A lot of people were angry, understandably.
Why understandably?
Because I was a leader and a spokesman, and I called people to live in very particular ways, to sacrifice in very particular ways. And so for me to change in my thinking feels like a betrayal to them. Mike, as a pastor, I excommunicated people. If you're not living according to the teaching of the Bible and you're living in unrepentant sin, then you have to be put out of the church. And I think I came to a point of recognizing, I'm not living according to this. And I held other people to this standard, and, I excommunicated myself, essentially.
What I felt like was interesting about that, and here's what I want to hear your all three of your responses to, because I feel like all three of you guys are probably, are definitely more qualified to talk about spiritual leadership than me. What I felt like was interesting is the reason that he gave there for stepping down as a pastor, not only stepping down as a pastor and renouncing his book, but essentially saying he's leaving the faith, was because he didn't feel like he could live to a certain moral standard. What he didn't say is, I found it too hard to believe in God. I found the Bible unreliable. He might believe those things, but that's not what he expressed. He said, the reason that I did this was because I felt like I couldn't live to a certain moral standard. That's a really interesting and difficult thing to hear, and I don't really know how best to process it, but maybe we can go kind of around the table here and just brief reactions. Prop, what do you think about Josh Harris's reason for explaining for why he wanted to leave the church?
Yeah, if I'm going to just take only what he's saying that 1 minute I just listened to. Like, so just, that's the caveat. Only what you just said. Like, I don't know his heart. I don't know his wife. I don't know his situation. I don't know what he's not telling us. Right. So I think that answer was super hard to follow to me, because it just sounded to me like, oh, you just ratchet. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you just ratchet, like, I don't understand. So rather than saying, what you just basically saying is I just want to be ratchet. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, well, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, so, so to me, it's like, to do this whole, like I said, only that moment, like his idea of like being like from the Instagram passage or Instagram caption and be like, man, I just don't hold to these views anymore. To me is like, okay, I understand that. Like, that's why you're like, Doc, I can't seem to reconcile these two things, you know? But yeah, he's expressing this sort of like moral standard that I would argue is like a very skinny, almost an emaciated version of the Christianity. Saying, which is like, so to me, it's like this again, just listening to him, I'm like, no, you're abandoning a toxic version of evangelicalism. Like, it's like you're not walking away from the faith, you're walking away from your version of it. You know what I mean? And it's almost like, well, nobody's ever shown you there's other ways. You know what I mean? And again, given justice statement, but it sounds to me like, man, you just ratchet, cuz like, okay, you wildin', like, all right, join the club. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, that's the thing. I mean, I guess it kind of like, it shows, like you were saying, Prop, like his version of Christianity almost reduces it down to this moral standard. That's like, I don't know if that's the point of this whole thing, is to say either you can live like this or you can't.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, that sounded to me like you just got bad theology. Like, you know, anyway.
JD, Huck, you guys both have seminary backgrounds and are friends with a lot of people who were trained for professional ministry and probably have gone a lot of different ways. How common do you think this view is, that I'm either going to get out of ministry or I'm going to get out of the faith altogether, not because I don't believe, but because I don't know if living to a certain moral standard is reasonable?
I think in my experience, it's actually fairly common. And I think part of it has to do with to different levels, like different degrees, there's that amount of like celebrityism that is cast upon leaders. And if you're in a small town, it can just be like the local pastor. If you're, if you're national or an author, all of a sudden we tend to, as a society, cast a lot of responsibility upon them, and upon even like celebrities that come out and, say they've converted to the faith. We've cast a lot of responsibility and a lot of weight upon their words. And when they start to actually feel the weight of that responsibility, it almost becomes too much to bear. And so there's a point in which you start to look at the very serious, like, it's tricky, right? Because Jesus in his ministry was very much an arms open personality, right? He very much went to the least of these and sought out the people that needed the help the most and went to them. But he didn't necessarily leave them exactly where they were either. He definitely through love and encouragement definitely called them to something higher. But I think when you combine that kind of language with this, unbiblical level of responsibility that we've placed on these leaders and things, I think it can just become overbearing and it can become too heavy. And I think, Prop, like you were saying, I mean, when this is the only version of Christianity that you've been exposed to, you don't have any other language for it or any way to know how to reconcile. And unfortunately, what happens is when people start to walk through this type of deconstruction, they tend to do it outside of any kind of community, which can become very dangerous because then you become your own arbiter of your own truth, and you become this like isolated like individual, and you don't listen to the wisdom of the people around you and these kind of things. It can just lead to a very dark place, I feel like, emotionally and spiritually. And so I just like, I understand where he's coming from, why he maybe thinks that this is what he has to do right now. And maybe it is. Maybe he needs to like fully step away from the Christianity that he understands to find a different version of it. But it is tough to be like, well, I wasn't able to be perfect, so therefore I'm not involved in Christianity. And I think that's like one of the main tenets is like, no. Like it's not about being perfect. And it's not about
you've just been under some bad teaching. That's what it sounds like to me.
Right. Yeah. And I think it's sad that a guy going through all this stuff in his personal life and having to reconcile maybe some of the things that he's done in the past, unfortunately doesn't seem to have the right people around him to kind of mentor him well or pastor him well or whatever.
With that, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Scott Avett will join us.
I'm a high-stepping, high-betting, love-giving, I'm a love-getting, I'm a stranger, I love stretching out my wheels. Overnighting on the desert strip, making time and losing grip, driving circles in the canyons of my mind.
You're listening to High Steppin' by our guest, the Avett Brothers.
Well, Scott Avett is a singer, songwriter for the folk pop outfit, the Avett Brothers, who are currently on a massive tour in support of their latest album, Closer Than Together. I recently spoke with Scott about the album, his views on hope, and why the band has gotten more quote-unquote political recent years. So the first thing I wanted to know from Scott is you can read on Instagram, he and his brother posted a manifesto for this new album, Closer Than Together. This pretty long I guess, statement on why they decided to do an album that had a little more socio-political commentary than most Avett Brothers albums do.
That was something notable to me about this particular record. I mean, there, at different points they're singing about gun violence and things like that, stuff that we haven't really seen from the Avett Brothers before.
Yeah, they're one of these folksy bands that you just think about love and loss and God and life and stuff like that. And I've always liked them, but I haven't really thought of them as like a hot take band. And they made it very clear in the statement, even this manifesto, that they will never do a political album. But I believe the quote in the manifesto was, if we did, it would sound something like this. So I asked Scott to unpack that a little bit for me. And here's what he said.
Other individuals would have maybe asked, hey, what do you have to say about this? Or you should say this, or you should help me do this. Well, if that's natural and that's right, then of course, you do it, right? But what this album is, and what all of our albums have been, is our personal relationship, our personal experience, but ultimately our relationship with the world, with our world, which at times is very small and at times is quite expanded. And the issues that would, I think, lend themselves to sounding "quote unquote" socially political, or not political in any way. They're about our personal feelings about our experience and our relationship with them. So I think that's the best way to put it. I think overall as well, our intent and our most important job is to contribute through loving and unifying versus dividing anybody. We don't want anything to do. We don't really understand the need to divide. We understand the need to defend ourselves and defend those who can't be, defended. And everybody's got a different definition of that.
Sure.
But for us, we just try to stay true and talk about the things that we understand. And the only thing that we understand is our personal relationship with the world.
That's such an interesting clip, Tyler, because I remember last year I interviewed a filmmaker named Michael Bonfiglio, who directed a documentary about the Avett Brothers called May It Last that was produced by Judd Apatow for HBO. And I ran the interview. People can go find it. It's on the website. And I was talking to him about the appeal of the Avett Brothers. And it kind of boils down to that idea that, Seth is describing there, that
Scott.
I'm sorry. That Scott is Seth is the other Avett brother in the Brothers band title. Yeah,
it's confusing.
But how their music brings you into this degree of intimacy with the subject matter of what they're writing about. So whether they're writing about God, whether they're writing about love, their last album dealt with, addiction and divorce. And, it's not from a 30,000 foot view. It's from a 30 foot view. It's their relationship with these. And you enter into like this degree of intimacy with the subject matter with the Avett Brothers that makes topics not feel preachy, but feel very, very close. And I feel like that's part of the appeal of some of their music.
What's the difference between them and somebody like, say, Rage Against the Machine, right? Who do exclusively political albums, but you wouldn't say they're deeply personal or anything like that, right? You wouldn't say that comes from an intimate place. I'm not saying that one's better than the other, but the Avett Brothers are definitely doing their own thing.
Yeah, for sure.
With this album. And so one thing that I was really interested in that he said in that answer there is how important it was for them to create unity, to not drive people apart, but to do unity. And I think something that we all struggle with sort of in our current our present moment is that it can feel hard to stay true to your values without creating a little bit of this unity. Yeah. Like sometimes you feel like you have to take a side, and that side is going to push people away from you, whether that's a political issue, a social issue, even a religious issue. I think it can be hard to know how to, as important as unity is, to know how to do that without sacrificing your personal integrity. So I asked him about that, and I really admired the thoughtfulness of his response.
Everybody just getting along doesn't necessarily reflect unification. What I believe is that, and I don't know how you would argue this. We're all part of the human race. I think that's correct. Mm-hmm. We all live on the same planet. And in that respect, you could say metaphorically, or you could say directly, we're part of one body. Period. Mm-hmm. And that body has a lot of suffering. It has a lot of gifts as well. And I can't, we can't go around telling other people, anything except here's who we are, and here's what we're doing. Yeah. Really, that's all. You know what I'm saying? Well, we can't, I don't know how to, there's certainly things that I think are wrong for sure. And there are things I'd like to see better, tons of them, infinite, but I guess that starts with me.
Again, that's such an interesting idea about what, like you're saying, Tyler, unity, because the Avett Brothers have been open in the past about their ideas about faith and spirituality, but obviously there's a pretty direct tie-in to what his idea is sort of about. Well, the commonality we all share is we're all people. And so even if you think one thing or another, we're still people. But when he says we're all part of this kind of one body, obviously as like Christians, we relate that to the church. And
clearly a spiritual reference.
Yeah, because, there are people within the church that are a part of the body of Christ that claim to be Christian, that probably think wildly different on issues than you or I think, And so I do appreciate them trying to speak to that tension of like, well, how do I maintain this sort of bodyship, for a lack of a better word, with someone who I disagree with adamantly,
And I think that comes down to frequently for us who are in the church. A lot of times we're not very good at that. Somebody else will recount to us their experience, like a person who's saying that racism is still a very real thing in the country, for example, or that they feel that they've been sort of left behind by a lot of some like economic trends. And we say, well, no, you haven't, or no, you're just being lazy, or you're making that up. We don't accept other people's experience, like he's talking about here, and saying we don't take other people's word for it when they relate their own life story. And I think that that's a really good reminder, but it's an exercise. It's something you have to work at. It doesn't come naturally to us to do that. And I was curious if some of his thoughts on all of this had been sort of challenged or maybe even strengthened by the fact that these guys are at their core a touring band. They're on the road all the time. So they get a chance to go around a lot and see a lot of the different people, a lot of the different groups that they're referring to here. And he said that it has, and here's how that's happened.
I think it has enhanced one of the biggest, like going on our first tour in 2002, traveling around the North and then over to Chicago down to the Midwest and learning about, learning true geography of the East and Midwest, the East Coast and Midwest in a full scope was instantly like a boom. Like, wait a second. Just wait a second. There's no difference. There's no difference. The differences are all fabricated by us, but in the real, like at the core of things, there's the same things happening here. This guy I went in to buy hairspray at a salon in New York. It was a barbershop basically. And, you could have been in Mayberry, it was the sweetest, and you realize that some people think that that's impossible. They will tell you, no, they'll say, they'll give you a quote like this. No, people in New York do this. No, people in the South do this. People in Mayberry do this, and blah, blah, blah. It's ludicrous.
That is an interesting perspective, as like you said, someone, Tyler, like you mentioned, that's been on the road for most of their adult life, touring the country and touring the world. It's like, you go to some of these places, and I think especially for us in media, there's a common thread of like, well, there's the East Coast elites, and then there are people, the liberals,
blue collar,
the
working
liberals
class,
out west, where it's like, look, man, if you spend any time actually talking to people, it's like, there's probably a lot more that we have in common than that we have different,
Yeah. And I think that's something that especially their album, their music, the fact that they are taking what I think we could all agree is a very kind of down home, a lot of blue collar appeal to the Avett Brothers, very folksy. They come from the South. They're very proud of that. But also talking about, I would say, whatever you think the Avett Brothers' political statements might be based on their aesthetic, you might end up being a little surprised once you dig into it, which I would encourage you to do. It's a very good album. I really enjoyed listening to it. I can't wait to see them on tour. We've talked about them on here before, but they put on a really strong show. I love watching these guys in concert. So I hope you get the chance to check them all out, and also to check out the new record. Also, this might not come as a surprise, but the folks in France love the Avett Brothers.
Really?
They come up a lot over here. Yeah, there's a lot of those folksy Americana bands still very hot in France. Still a lot of love for them.
I want to ask about that real quick, because obviously, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people in all over the world that are bilingual and know English, or at least know.
Oh, sure.
But I mean, that's not a barrier for them. They're even though, and even a lot of the references, particularly in the Avett Brothers or the Americana genre in general, it seems pretty specific, but that's not a barrier for fans in France.
People in Paris have quite a bit of English. Almost, if I didn't know any French, and I don't know very much French at all, but if I didn't know any at all, I could still get around just fine in here. I would say anybody under 40 or so has a pretty good handle that I've talked to here on the English language.
Not for too much of a diversion, but real quick, because you're about to, as listeners know, you've been in Paris for several months now. You're getting ready to come home. I do have a question.
Just a couple days.
What American artists seem to be the most popular among your Parisian neighbors there?
Well, there were the people that we talked to, and I don't want to, I've met a pretty slim percentage of the Paris population over here, so I won't speak for everybody, but I would say that the people we've talked to, very big fans of that acoustic, kind of bluesy, stompy, hey scene. Yeah, I shared about this on Twitter, but we introduced two friends of ours who we met here. We all took a day trip out, a little road trip to go see some of the French countryside, and we introduced them to that Old Crow Medicine Show song "Wagon Wheel." Rock me. They proceeded to listen to it 5 times in a row. I am not exaggerating.
Don't ever
over and over.
I feel like if you ever let them hear Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros home,
I'm sure it's
that's just another kind of one of those foot stomping, gang vocal, kind of folksy types of things. So that's interesting. Well, I'm glad that
that's a big one.
Yeah.
And Journey is also a very hot commodity over here. People love
Journey.
And I think there's an assumption that I haven't been able to correct here, that because we're American, we also love Journey. Journey. Like some of the people, some of the bartenders in restaurants, that's very non-ironic. Like when I walked in, like some of the places that I've frequented here, when I walk in, they turn on like, oh, the Americans here, and they turn on Don't Stop Believing. I really don't have the heart to tell them I don't really like the song very much. So I just kind of like, yeah, here I am. And then when I walk out, they play it again. Like,
well, I got a chance. I got free tickets to a Journey concert a couple years ago. Obviously, it's Steve Perry free Journey, but the lead singer they have now, that guy who was on I think they found him on YouTube, sounds just like him.
Yeah, I'll say this. The clips. Yeah,
I'll say this. Journey still puts on a heck of a show. Whether you're in Paris or America, Journey is the world's last universal language. It's the language of travel, of never stop believing. So
traveling well. Whether it's Journey or Edward Sharpe or the Avett Brothers, I'm glad to see that they're keeping that genre, that thread of American music alive. And thanks a lot to Scott Avett for talking to us. It was a really good conversation, and there is a lot more of it, which you'll be able to read very soon.
That was Scott Avett. Next up, Ask the Cast.
Some alone to hide the high, catching feelings from the start.
There are over 1 million children trapped in the darkness of sexual slavery. Destiny Rescue is a Christian-based organization dedicated to rescuing these kids and helping them stay free. Girls like Tala, who once was a worship leader, became trapped and sold for sex. All seemed hopeless, yet she still prayed for a way out. Then one night, she was found by a Destiny Rescue agent. Our rescue agents are relentlessly seeking, finding, and rescuing brave individuals around the world through a variety of rescue tactics. We help survivors let go of traumatic past through individual aftercare plans and empower them to live out their God-given destinies. Today, Tala is going to college and getting a communications degree. She is earning a safe living and has even returned as a worship leader in her church. She has found hope, worth, and restoration in the light of Jesus Christ. You can be a light and reach the next child waiting in the darkness at destinyrescue.org.
So jack it down. You're not fess around.
You're listening to Don't Go Wasting Time. That's by Alfie Templeman. Speaking of Don't Go Wasting Time, we are going to try not to waste too much time. We're running a little long today, but we are going to do one or two Ask the Cast pieces. Ask the Cast is, of course, where we ask you on Twitter to send us your questions. We'll do our best to answer them. Here is just a couple Ask the Cast that you all sent us. I do want y'all's thoughts on this one. This comes from Jess on Twitter. She said, my boyfriend and I are in the process of creating a relationship contract. What should we definitely include?
Hold on.
If I could answer that question with a question.
Yes.
What is a relationship?
Are you dating the Prince of Wales or something? Like, why is there a contract involved here? Like,
do the celebs do this now? Like,
I don't understand. Have any of you guys, Chandler, you're JD, Tyler, and I are all married. We're all married men. You're out on the dating scene. How many relationship contracts have you entered into with the young ladies who you get the privilege of having a dinner out with you?
None yet, but I'm going to draft one up as soon as we get off.
What would be
good idea? That's a great
this whole concept.
Yeah, are they like legally binding?
Is this like an early prenup or something like that? It's like before you're.
It's like you will pay for dinner. Yeah. You will pay.
Jess on Twitter, we're going to follow up in the DMs and we're going to have you on to discuss what even the concept of a relationship contract is, because I'm very fascinated by it. And anytime we can get legal documents involved in relational transactions that require none, I'm all for it. I am all for things in writing with legal ramifications. Like, you owe me what is in the contract? You owe me like 2 dates a week. Like, you got to return my text within an hour. Like, contractually, what are you obligating this person to? I'm very interested.
Like, who pays? Surely who pays on there, and then like maybe how you treat the family. Like,
that's just so weird.
Like do's and don'ts when you go over to meet the parents.
I feel like if you need a contract,
are you going to be able to change a broken headlight? That's contractually, you're obligated. If we're dating and my headlight breaks, go on YouTube, figure it out.
And under what circumstances do you bust out the contract and be like, under clause 3, subheading C, you'll see here that we specifically agreed. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I could not make it more clear. This man signed a contract. He knew what he was in for. And he does not know how to change a tire. He says on paper he knew how to change a tire.
I'm also curious about the time length, like the time terms of the contract. Is it like a weekly contract, monthly? Is it auto renewing, or do you get to
evolve? Oh yeah. As my
attorney, dissolve with the breakup.
My attorney, Lowell the Hammer Stanley, will remind you, we are going out on dates on Valentine's night and on the Friday night that week. It is in the contract. And also, I was in a minor fender bender, and he got me a pretty good little settlement. So you make the determination. But part of that settlement was you got to fix the headlight because I did break it in the fender bender. So
what happens if you break up, but yet you still have 3 more weeks left on the contract? Do you still have to fulfill the contract?
I think it's void at that point.
I mean, I don't know.
Probably not.
Who knows?
I would imagine.
I don't know. I hope that's in the contract. Make sure you put that in there. That it ends with the dissolving of the relationship. All right.
Let's do one more. All the time we got. Yeah, let's see one more. Maybe handle the rest on Friday because we got a big show coming up Friday.
I like that. All right. That's true. Okay. All right. So here's a good one. Frank said he just accepted the position to be the king pastor at his church. Congratulations, Frank. That's a cool opportunity. He says he was the youth pastor. What can he do to make sure he starts off well? So an upgrade from youth pastor to campus pastor. How can he start off well?
I think contract with the congregation right away and make them put in writing. They're not going to go to some other campus.
Nope.
They are going to turn a blind eye to his youth group pastor days antics like stealing wizard rocks. They will, they will promise not to be overly critical of him, and they will. I'm thinking of, he's new campus pastor. I'm thinking bi-monthly love offerings. Which, by the way, I love the term love offering. When anytime the pastor's like, "We're doing this isn't an offering. No one's obligated here. This isn't tithing. This is all about the love. Do you love? Because we're doing a love offering. Do
you love God? Here comes the offering.
Here anyway. It comes. Yep.
All right, Frank, I hope that helps. I think basically, Frank, just keep doing the same thing. The same stupid food games that you did for the youth group, the same sardines in a can.
Yeah, you know what's wrong with normal church is that it's not like youth group enough.
Adults love those too.
Yeah.
And make them contractually obligated to laugh at your jokes.
Yeah.
And not like those punk teenagers.
There were a lot of good questions. We'll come back to them. We're running too long. We'll come back to them. We'll do a few more on the episode later this week. But I think with that, we do have to wrap things up. Hey, many thanks to Scott, Avett, and the Avett Brothers for joining us this week. Love hearing from those guys. Closer Than Together is out now. They're also on tour. Make sure you check them out if you get a chance to. Also, Relevant Daily is a podcast that I bring every Monday through Friday. We check out some of the best stories of the day at the intersection of faith and culture. For you to subscribe to that. And also, don't forget about our new podcast for church leaders called has some fascinating, really good conversations with leaders from the church world, talking about church leadership and what the church needs to look like moving forward. If you subscribe to that and give it a listen, I do not think you'll regret it. Some fascinating content coming from there. And with that, I think we are going to wrap things up. I'm Tyler Huckabee.
I'm Chandler String.
Jesse Carey.
John David Harris.
I'm Propaganda.
We will see you all next time. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Relevant Podcast. If you like what you heard, be sure to leave us a review on iTunes. Check out other shows from the Relevant Podcast Network in the podcast section at relevantmagazine.com. And while you're there, browse exclusive podcast merchandise at our online store. Make sure to subscribe to Relevant Magazine. Info is available at relevantmagazine.com/subscribe.
I always thought boulders were kind of a finder's keeper situation, but I'm glad they did the right thing. I'm glad the wizard who took it did the right thing.
Relevant Podcast Network.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Go to Dutch.com to get vet care that is always there for just $92 a year.